Lost power here. Back with another job to do. Doing the clutch master cylinder. I did the slave cylinder not too long ago because of a breakdown. And I'm gonna follow up and do the clutch master cylinder. You know, I might as well do it since, you know, I did the slave, so definitely gotta get this car going. I was gonna do the ball joints, but I need a 36mm, so I'm just gonna run out. I'm gonna run out later on and get it from AutoZone. And I decided to go with OE style bushings for the control arms, so I'll make a video on that. I'm most likely going to have to take that to work and press everything out, so I don't know, let's get this thing started. Got a Luck master cylinder from Rock Auto. I'm definitely going to have to get some new clutch pad and new brake pad. I should have bought double when I bought it for the Black Prelude for the 5th gen, because I got new ones on the 5th gen and they look pretty good, they're clean. So I'm going to take the 5th gen to the NEPA Prelude meet coming up in October 9th, I believe. As you can see that it's only like a week or two old and it's already, there's like one little rust spot on there already. What the heck? So I'm gonna start off by taking the pin out of the forks. That cotter pin is on the left hand side, closer to the fuse box there. And it's going to be tough to get to. And then there's a bolt up there that's diagonal to the bolt there on the right. There's a bolt diagonal on the back side. I'm going to do that one next. I mean, I fought with this one for a little bit. It's just hard to see where it's at. You just gotta feel around for it. I did this on the 5th gen 2 years ago. I did this on the 5th gen, new slave, new master. I was bleeding it for the track, bleeding all the fluid out, and it just wouldn't bleed, so I just ended up replacing everything. So now it's the 4th gen's turn to start to get some of these new parts in there and, you know, keep it reliable, because no one likes to break down. I'm going to take the resistor pack up, the 10mm bolt for that. Then I'm going to take the reservoir out. There's two 10mm bolts for that as well. And it's straightforward from there. You also need a flare wrench or a brake line wrench, a 10mm, and a Phillips or flathead for the hose, disconnecting the hose. I keep some a towel or paper down there, so, and also you know, when you're unplugging your connectors, it's a good chance to put some dielectric grease on there. You know, why not? You have it apart, lubricate it. But yeah, I was fortunate when I did break down. I wasn't too far from a friend's place, so it was tough. I was able to get it started in first gear. There was barely any pressure on the clutch, so as soon as I started, the vehicle wanted to like almost die out, and I had to give it gas, and release the clutch, and kept it in first gear. I had to go a couple blocks down, and I left it at a friend's place. But I forgot about there being a gasket there for the master cylinder. I wonder if I could have bought one brand new, but I just transferred it over to the new one. Now this master cylinder seemed like it was working, but it was a lot of crud around there. You can kind of see that it added a little bit of seepage. So it's probably better, change it now than to have it fail on me later on. So, keep in mind when you're working on your vehicle, if you're down in that area, take a good look at it. I think I remember looking at the slave cylinder and seeing moisture around there and thinking maybe I should change my slave cylinder, but it slipped my mind and I just forgot about it. I was occupied with something else, so just those things like that. You have to really keep an eye out, especially at this age of the vehicle. They're 27 years, 28 years old. So I'm happy because I was at the tuner not too long ago. I was at the tuner, and that clutch could have went then and there, and that would have sucked because I was like 2.5 hours out. So that would have been real bad. Now when you're transferring that hose and the reservoir over to the new master cylinder, I would do it with no fluid in the reservoir, because I made that mistake. I had the reservoir full with the brake fluid in there, and the reason I transferred it full because I didn't want too much air getting into the line in the reservoir. But look, you can see it spilling out there. Wow. And I was gonna bench bleed it, so obviously that didn't happen. I didn't really have a bench to do it. I was gonna do it by hand. So all that fluid, most of the fluid leaked out of it. I'm gonna take the time and apply some electrical grease to the connectors. That's my thing now. Like whenever I take apart anything, if it's gonna be a bolt, it's gonna be electrical connector, I'm gonna put electrical grease on the connectors and some type of lubricant on the bolts. Because you never know, you may be back in that area next time and you don't want to be fighting any rust or any of that nonsense, especially for a northeastern PA vehicle. Alright, I'm gonna bolt the reservoir back up. The master cylinder is already in. Now, when I was working on the pedal, I noticed that the stop was missing for the neutral safety switch for the clutch. I was able to start the vehicle with the clutch all the way up. That's, a clear indication. A clear indication that it's missing. But like you can see there, it's totally missing. I had extra ones laying around because it went on my brake pedal. When it goes on your brake pedal, your brake light just stays on all the time. I see people make these posts about, oh, what can I do to fix it? Blah, blah, blah. Should I just, put a nut and bolt through it, do it this way, do it that way? And it costs like $5-6 to buy that little rubber stop to put in there. It costs nothing. I'm gonna have to put like a little link in the description or something to show you guys. But here, the way how I set my my travel, how I set my clutch up is I set it up just the way how the clutch pedal sits. Wherever the clutch pedal sits, I'll adjust the forks. I'll adjust the forks so they're sitting perfectly in the hole. And I drove the 5th gen like that, and it seems totally fine. It engages somewhere in the middle, probably like a little bit higher in the middle. It's not at the top, you know, and it's definitely not at the bottom. So I would say in the middle, high middle. Also, I flipped the forks, because before the cotter pin was on the left side. I flipped it to where it's on the right side. It's just easier to get to the next time I do a master. And this is my little bleeder kit, one-man bleeder kit I made. This is very simple. Just a clear hose run into a bottle with fluid in there. There's also another hole in the cap to let air escape as the fluid gets higher. But what you want to do, the fluid has to be higher than the actual bleeder. So from here on then, I would pump the pedal like 5 times. You gotta keep your eye on the fluid, so 5 times will get you pretty close, you know, to very low fluid in the reservoir. So you definitely don't want to run out of fluid, because you'll put air back into the system. So I do about 5 pumps with the bleed. The bleeder is open the whole time. I do 5 pumps, and then I watch, see the bubbles flow. I put fluid back into the reservoir, and I do it over again. I did this about 10-12 times. Then when I finally closed up the bleeder valve, I had good pressure. Now I'm going to take it for a drive. The pressure is not 100%. The pressure is around, I would say, probably 90%. There's a small dead spot up top. I'm going to drive around and see if I can loosen that up, loosen the air bubbles up, and get the air bubbles to where they're not trapped. This happened to me in the 5th gen, where I had that little bit of play up top in the clutch pedal, a little dead spot that did nothing. So I adjusted the clutch, the travel on the clutch. I adjusted that, and I had to go to the track. This was a track day, so I took it to the track, and on the way to the track, just driving around in the grid and stuff back by the garages, the vehicle wouldn't go into gear. Like every gear, like I had to like force it in, because their air eventually bled or flowed to the top, to the master cylinder, to the reservoir, and the pedal got super hard, so I had to readjust it back out. So just something to keep in mind when you're bleeding it. Before I started bleeding it, I did pump the master cylinder with the system closed and fluid in there. I did pump the master cylinder about 100 times just to circulate that fluid, get all that fluid in there, and try to get all the bubbles into one big bubble. So I pumped it. I took my time pumping it, so it wasn't fast. Just like medium pumps, and I did about 100 just to get things started. So now this is something that everyone will have to do. If you have a manual transmission, you'll have to do this sometime down the line. So just my few tips on what I did to get the job done. And I also want to say the bleeder valve is like an 8mm bleeder valve for that. Alright, thank you guys for watching. You know, like it, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.